Welcome back to The Hollywood Education, everybody. The show where I did not expect to be shooting tonight, but Rich may or may not have injured himself in a covert CIA-sanctioned jump roping accident. So, let's talk about Teen Wolf. Today's thesis is Derek Hale is a perfectly executed anti-hero, and I'm gonna force you to agree with me over the next however many minutes I feel like talking. I'm Josh, and if you were wondering, yes, I am indeed fully back on my bullshit. In June of 2011, MTV dropped what may be the best supernatural teen drama ever made. Step off, you know I'm right, and if you don't, you're about to. Over the next 6 years, we got in tight with Scott McCall, Stiles, and the rest of the citizens of the fictional town of Beacon Hills, California. Kind of fictional. It's complicated. I'm not even gonna get into how much time I wasted researching mountains in California for this. Adult ADHD is real, kids, and it's coming for your Google search history. Yay. One of the most notable characters we are introduced to in the first season is the dark and mysterious Derek Hale, played by the delicious Tyler Hoechlin. Some of you may know him as the newest Superman. The CW Superman. Okay, get off. We start the series not knowing if we're supposed to trust Derek or if he's trying to kill our boy Scott. And to the show's credit, they really don't resolve that feeling for a while. For those of us who watched the show as it aired, our distrust of Derek lasted for literal years. Derek starts the series as this menacing figure lurking on the outskirts of Scott's life. He's rarely front and center, but everywhere we go, Derek seems to be watching. His trademark tragic backstory is laid out for us in stages. We know from Jump Street that Derek's family is dead, and he's kind of an outsider. Then, we learn he's a werewolf from a family of werewolves. And as the series progresses, Derek's life and his family reveal themselves to be more and more intertwined with the rest of Beacon Hills. I'd like to point out, though, that while we are set up to feel somewhat sympathetic towards Derek and his family's plight, there are very few moments where we are expected to actually like Derek. In the first 2 seasons, we are simply asked to understand him. He is set up as a creature of instinct. Scott, our protagonist, is set up as the heart of the series, the emotional center. Stiles is the obvious... What am I doing with my hands? Stiles is the obvious comedic role, but also the logical grounding point. I don't like doing this either. I feel like I'm on a news show. Derek! Derek, in contrast, holds no particular position in the band. He's a wolf. And for better or for worse, everything he does is on instinct. He hunts his uncle not only for revenge. Look, it's a long story. Peter Hale is a piece of work.
Can someone kill him again, please?
But also because his instincts drive him to obtain the position of alpha wolf. Once he has inherited the alpha status, he begins building a pack. Once again, he is led by instinct, seeking out those who would most benefit from the bite. While his interactions with Scott and crew are rather menacing and kind of villainous, his interactions with his own pack are not. Okay, pause there. Do you guys remember Negan from The Walking Dead? Not the one from the show, the one from the comics. Remember how he was hard and ruthless and violent, but compassionate and caring towards his own tribe? Congratulations, you've just met Derek Hale in Teen Wolf Season 2. He is still this hard-nosed, brooding character, but it is incredibly clear that he cares about the wolves he's turned. You never really know how you feel about him. His moral fiber is ambiguous, being the subject of both the curiosity of the audience as well as the characters in the show. His actions are primarily self-serving. If something doesn't benefit him or his pack, he sits it out, or even actively works against Scott and his friends. Now, after 2 entire seasons of this beautifully laid out anti-hero goodness, we arrive at the part of the show that everyone who ever saw it agrees is the best. Season 3 is fucking phenomenal. And while a breakdown of the 2-part season does deserve its own video, today I'd like to hang my hat on one solitary scene. I can confidently say Derek's character is summed up perfectly in this one scene, the first half of Season 3. To somewhat set the stage, Season 3 goes balls to the wall by breaking out some brutal villains and some seriously high stakes. In the midst of all that, Derek's budding pack is kidnapped. Some of them are killed, but Derek believes all of them to have been murdered. He's absolutely devastated. But then, On the night of the full moon, the night that a werewolf's powers are at their height and their instincts are the hardest to ignore, 2 of the wolves that Derek turned showed up out of the mists. 2 of the wolves that Derek turned show up out of the blue. They are raving mad, and they are set on killing under the full moon. Derek knows that if his pack kills innocent people, the hunters who live in town will kill them. So he does absolutely everything in his power to keep innocent blood from being spilled. He leads the 2 young werewolves on a wild goose chase and traps them in a basement. He has Scott lock the 3 of them in until morning, and Derek resigns himself to being trapped in there with 2 feral wolves. He holds them at bay, keeping them from killing each other or anyone else, but at the sacrifice of his own blood. Derek takes one hell of a beating. He may not be a good leader, but Derek knows that these 2 are in this situation because he turned them, and he takes responsibility for holding them down and keeping them safe, regardless of the personal cost. All night long, they cut him up, slashing and biting at him until they've worn themselves out. Derek, meanwhile, maintains his resolve, and we are privy to his memories as he holds them back. It's a deeply emotional scene, as the music swells and Derek closes his eyes, and it dawns on you that Derek believes he deserves this. Not only because he turned these teens into werewolves, but because of the guilt he carries around about his past. He feels guilty about the fate of his family, his friends, and his loved ones. He knows he is responsible for Erica and Boyd, but he also feels responsible for the terrible things that have happened to the people he cared for. Derek holds himself responsible for the deaths and tragedies that have followed him since his youth. Much like Hopper in Stranger Things, he silently feels he is not cursed, but that he is the curse.
I used to think I was cursed.
And those who enter his realm of influence will suffer because of him. So he welcomes this violence brought upon him, both as a necessary saving grace for Erica and Boyd, and as a kind of self-flagellation for his perceived sins. And it's in this moment that you remember, this show aired on fucking MTV in the 2010s, bro. Teen Wolf has no reason to be written this well, but here we are. The same network that brought you Teen Mom 2 somehow managed to bring you a character study so profound it still brings a tear to my eye 12 years later.
Scratch my Jeep.
Well, I guess season 3 only aired like 9 years ago, but still. Season 3 goes hard, my guy. Why am I yelling? Anyway, Derek's arc after season 3 gets a little more sparse, primarily because the actor who played him, Tyler Hoechlin, started getting bigger and more prominent roles and projects. Probably because Derek Hale was portrayed so well. His performance is powerful. So there's not much sense in talking about Derek after that. And if the length of this video didn't make it obvious to you, I'm not going to say much more anyway, because I want you to go watch it for yourself. I meant what I said about Teen Wolf being the best supernatural teen drama ever made. I would stack this show up against True Blood, Buffy, The Vampire Diaries, Supernatural, any of that, any day of the week. And I say that as someone who has seen all of Buffy and all of Supernatural multiple times. So your homework is go home and watch Teen Wolf from MTV. I got the box set if you need to borrow it. Kind of have a problem with buying box sets. You know, I have Smallville and the OC. And Deadwood. I have the box set for Deadwood. I used to have the box set for Batman the Animated Series. I lost it in a move. I think one of my ex-girlfriends has it. Anyway, class dismissed, I guess.